there's attack segment 1, attack 2, attack 3, and then there's a decay segment. And we call this a decay segment, not because it has to decay, but because if you want to do a natural envelope sound, you probably ought to have it decay by the 4th segment, or else it will never, ever decay. So the last attack segment is really called a decay. It controls its amplitude a little bit of a different way on the way to the level. So we have a 0-second attack to 100%, and then there's nothing assigned for attack 2 and attack 3, so I just have what's called a gate envelope. This is like an organ envelope. There is no envelope. When it's on as soon as I hit the key, it's off as soon as I touch it. Then you have a release. Let's add a little release first. I want to have a 2-second release to this sound, and here it is. So all of a sudden I've rolled off the release of this sound. Let's look at the levels. I'm going to make that a little shorter. Okay, that's nice. Attack, if I want to slow the attack, all of a sudden I see on the display that it is starting to give me a graphic to show me the shape of the envelope that I'm making. So it's showing me right now the attack and then a release. And if I shorten the release up, I'll see that release come shorter. Now, one thing we like to do a lot with envelopes is we like to have them start off right off the bat, and then we want them to decay slightly, let's say 80% of volume. So now it's going to immediately attack to 100%, then decay over 2 seconds to 80% of its volume, and I want my decay level to be the same as when it went to. So I'm going to say that's 80. So now it goes from 100% down to 80% in 2 seconds and stays there. Now let's save out of this again, because this is a nice program we're working on, and go back to some of the sounds. You'll find envelopes like this in the orchestral sounds. Let's see. That one wasn't a good example, was it? You'll find different kinds of envelopes are useful for different kinds of articulations. And so the one we just did here on this LFO sound that we like decays slightly. We could also have it decay like a piano, say over 20 seconds it goes to 0. So now I have, and it's going, if I hold it with the pedal here, we listen, it decays to silence. So you can actually have the decay come back to 100%. I could have the second segment go to nothing, and then over 20 seconds it will come back to 100%. So it's not really decay at all, is it? So these segments, the idea is that you can shape, with these 4 segments, you can shape a very precise articulation of the instrument you're trying to create. And then with the release, you can also have it do complex releases. I might want to have a very short release to, say, 50%, and then have a nice long tail afterwards, like this. So that's how you use an envelope. The amplitude envelope is special because once you assign the layers, once you assign the attack segments to the envelope, you can go over to the envelope control page and you can have those things be adjusted by any of the control source lists, and also by the key tracking and velocity tracking amount. We use this a lot in the acoustic sounds, but I'll show you as an example. Here's a nice slow 2-second attack on this sound, and I'm going to go to the envelope control page and I'm going to say that velocities will change that by 20 times. All of a sudden, if I hit hard, I get a fast attack, and hitting slower, a slower attack. I can have key tracking adjusted, and I can have any control source that I want to adjust it. You can do this to the attack segments, which operates on all 3 segments, and you can also change the decay time, and you can even assign attack velocity to that if I wanted to. Maybe the decay is very fast. Let's make my attack nice and fast. My decay to 0 is going to be set for, say, 15 seconds. Well, that's not 15 seconds, is it? Well, that's because on the envelope control page I said it's 50 times that at the top velocity. What if I said that's only going to be, say, 10 times that, and I play softly? As a slow decay, playing faster, it's a faster decay. Maybe I want to be super long unless I touch it, so let me go over my adjust, and I'll turn it to less than 1 time. If I say now it's going to be 0.2 times all those times, so 15, if whatever the rate is, it's going to be much slower. So the rate to give me a 15-second decay is now much slower unless I hit high velocity. So now, a nice slow decay, about like that. And I want to, I'm not hearing this actually now because I'm now playing very dynamically. So I'm going to go back to my amplitude page, and I'm going to say that there's less dynamics on my amplitude. So now my soft strikes are inaudible. And now I'm going to hit harder. And I should hear a difference in decay. Attack velocity 50 times, that's a lot. 33 times, maybe. Okay. Slow decay, fast decay, like that. So envelope control is at work in many of the sounds to give us articulations, especially with the strings. So here's a nice adagio, but I might want to play a little faster and get more of an attack. The lead strings, they're faster all the way across the board. Envelope control, even on the fast ones. So all of these parameters that adjust my actual amplitude envelopes and then setting the envelope controls, they can affect a very precise sound design. And this is why it's so exciting to program a synthesizer, because not only do you have 60 DSP functions that are where you can change radically the sound and create sounds from scratch, but you also have so many controls that you can apply at each stage of the DSP, and even those controls have other modules that you can assign to control them. This is modular synthesis, and so we've seen how to program LFOs, we've seen how to program ASRs, we've seen how to program the envelopes. There is one final aspect to the control source list and assigning automated control sources, and these are the funs. That's short for function, and we're going to get into that in just a minute.